Cage, Season 1, Episode 10. He doesn't die at the end of this episode.
Not even close.
Wow, it's only been the 3 previous ones. He died at the end of every episode, it seemed like. This time, he seemed pretty good.
But now Misty Knight might die.
See, I thought we were on a change here. So I just want to start out, because I actually got a lot of feelings about this episode. I felt like it kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like the Diamondback character, like the fact that they're explaining stuff in episode 10, and he's just kind of introduced in like episode, well, I guess technically episode 7, but I just feel like he was just this looming figure, and somehow this looming Kingpin figure now was the half brother of Luke Cage, and it's all connected to him. But I don't know. It felt like also a bunch of stuff piled on at once, and it didn't flow right to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole surgery scene with the, okay, so they had to submerge him and do this stuff. I understood all that, and I kind of like the idea of, like, the only way to fix Luke Cage is basically kill him to try to get the stuff. Okay, because he's indestructible. But then they pulled all the shrapnel out of one bullet hole, and then, okay, pull him out, and then everything's fine, but he still has another, but that one's good too.
Yeah.
So just, that, I'd say for me, like, the first half of this episode, also I was like, what happened? I feel like I'm watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., not Luke Cage.
The surgery scene series of scenes was the weakest part of this episode. Like, it felt kind of old school, like CW level stuff. Like, it didn't look very good, and what they, I don't know what she threw in there. I called it a toaster, but she throw something in there to shock him. Dump some salt in there. We're calling it a soup now. It approached campiness.
Right.
It really approached campiness, and I think they have kind of had an attitude in this show, so they've done a good job of managing kind of a coolness to the show, that going with the campy, just like that, was jarring, and it felt like probably the weakest part of the whole series for me.
Yeah.
Like, even some of the prison stuff didn't feel that, the experimenting in the prison stuff didn't feel that campy.
Well, see, and I like this prison stuff, but this, to me, was just, it fell out of place. It didn't flow well with the rest of it. Yeah, it seemed kind of cheesy.
Yeah, and that guy, kind of, I feel like they're trying to push it like kind of a little bit of a mad scientist thing, but he's not acting at all like a mad scientist, so just conflicting cues going on.
And the fact that, like, like Luke Cage is like this one-off thing that happened, and they don't know exactly how to do it, and they're just like, throw some salt in there, turn up the heat, let's see what happens. And I understand they were doing the whole, like, throw everything at the wall and see what works, but it seems like you wouldn't go like, well, what works on this? Salt. You wouldn't just go, where's the salt? Is this salt? And he doesn't even answer, and then she just pours it all in there. It's like, I hope that's not something else that's gonna cause a problem.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing the whole scene to me didn't work well. And then on top of that, I feel like Diamondback's a little too crazy to work in this. Like, Cottonmouth was a good villain because
he felt like he had an origin.
And he didn't seem like he was just chaos. Diamondback, I realized, was trying to make it like, oh my god, he's like this force of nature. But how did he get to where he's at? Like, he handles everything himself.
Yeah.
So all you really have to do is shoot him.
Yeah.
And his entire organization is gone because he just walked. I mean, that's not. It just doesn't work to me. Like, Luke Cage is the lone warrior because he's a superhero and he's the good guy.
Right.
Diamondback is a crazy person that runs in and shoots a bunch of, like, gang leaders, and no one just shoots him back. That's all they had to do, and like everything would be completely fixed.
Yeah, so he goes out and does his own dirty work because he's psycho, and I get that. That's fine. He can be kind of like that Punisher level psycho. That's fine. Only the criminal version. But at the same time, we're also supposed to understand that he got a hold of a bunch of alien metal from the incident, and he has a manufacturing process where they make weapons out of it or bullets out of it. That would be a huge operation. And that's why Kingpin didn't ever go do his own thing, because he had a huge operation.
Yeah.
How is Diamondback? Is Diamondback somehow infinitely more of a multitasker than Kingpin, I don't believe it.
Especially since he seems way more like. I mean, Kingpin is a crazy person, but he's a crazy person
that's kept it under wraps.
That's like trying to hold it all together.
Yeah.
Diamondback just seems crazy, and it's like, hey, how did he build this empire when he just kills people all the time, and he's just always quoting scripture, and he's just he was too crazy to do. Like, he feels like him and Shades should have flipped.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, because Shades is like the cool, like, calculating kind of guy in a way.
Like a psycho minion.
Yeah, that's what he feels like. That second in command guy who's there because he's the crazy muscle that's willing to go that extra step.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work for him right now. I'm hoping they're gonna flip it, but I've liked the show up until basically this episode. In this episode, I was kind of like, what's happening?
Okay, one more other beef, and then because there was good stuff in this episode. One more other beef I had was his framing of Luke Cage involved some kind of alien metal brass knuckles that allowed him to propel someone like 20 feet in the air by punching them one time, a police officer.
And it looked like it was a glove. That doesn't make your punch.
Yeah, it was a little glove with the metal knuckle thing, and yeah, I don't know if it's for budgetary reasons, but they didn't make him a power glove, but it acted like a power glove. You know, so I feel like that's the kind of thing that nerds are going to notice and ask questions about, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to try to answer that at all.
I'm assuming that's what the backpack was for, was to somehow power it.
Oh, yeah.
But still, my point is...
There was no mechanism.
There was no mechanism, and he puts on a glove. So even if that glove is infinitely strong, it's still just his normal man arm punching someone. So it doesn't fit. Yeah, it didn't feel right. Maybe they're going to go through and explain that it's like anti-gravity or it has some other type of impact thing that it can do.
From a different part of the alien metal.
Yeah. But it that also didn't seem right. Like the whole thing, and then him going, "I'm Luke Cage," and run away. I mean, that was amusing. That was, to me, that he's basically, it's a very comic book thing, right? Someone tries to do something dressed up as the hero to try to frame them. Yeah. Got it. It just, how it was implemented didn't seem right.
Yeah, there's a lot of like comic book level awareness going on, because he's wearing a hoodie, but he's out in broad daylight, and he doesn't actually look like Luke Cage.
No, he does not.
So it's like, punch a guy, yell Luke Cage. Okay, it was Luke Cage. And then later on, I'm skipping way ahead here, when Luke Cage comes into Paradise in Harlem in a hoodie, 1 million people don't notice him. So that's definitely kind of a comic booky kind of just skipping ahead shortcut. I don't know. But anyway, there was good stuff in this episode.
Yes, there was.
Because the fixing Luke Cage thing aside, I felt like the drama is amping up. Like, I kind of did like Black Mariah's whole thing of taking the attack on the cop frame thing and using it to her own purposes. I liked that we've got Misty Knight kind of, she's figuring it out. Like, she doesn't know it yet, but she's the advocate for Luke Cage, right? Because she's figuring out that this is a setup, that there's a whole lot more going on. There's a lot of bad people involved, and she's going to be a detective and go investigate. So she goes to the club during the huge rally, and she's calling out Diamondback, recognizes him, what have you. So I feel like that drama's all amping up. And I feel like Luke Cage is more in what you would expect superhero mode to be now. Like, because we kind of were in the previous episodes, we're talking about, what his motivations were. Is this a one-time thing? Just take care of business and leave? Is he going to be the hero of Harlem? What's going on? And now he's like, he's got his little, kind of cliche origin. Diamondback and him were made at the same time kind of thing going on. He's got to stop Diamondback. So I feel like it's more superhero level, more comic book level now. And hopefully we don't come back down from that somehow in the next 3 episodes. But overall, I think the whole drama level is amping up.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, there's also the whole fact that now, like, unlike Daredevil, his face is out there. Unlike Jessica Jones, which most people, she didn't really get involved that much with the police and everything. He's a wanted man now, so like, and everyone knows that he has like he's out, that he's a superhero. I don't know where the show goes after this. Like, I know they're going to do a second season of Luke Cage. I'm assuming. He's going to be in Defenders. I'm just wondering, with the environment that he's in, I'm wondering how he isn't like government locked down. It's basically at the end of all this, unless he does like just the walk off in the sunset at the end of this.
I think that's all going to rely on Misty Knight clearing his name. Like, I think it's all going to come down to that. Now, whether they do that in this season, or they come back to it, or they just season 2 take it for granted that we fixed that, I don't know. But I think it's all going to come down to Misty Knight's investigation and just clearing his name in general.
Okay,
that's my guess.
Well, I'm hoping something happens, because I'm kind of seeing this feel like it might be a weird cut ending, but we'll find out. So that's our review of episode 10. And guys, thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.